Support for The Kyle Hyman Show comes from Notre Dame Federal Credit Union and listeners like you who donate to Redeemer Radio, your local Catholic radio station.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kyle Hyman.
Today is February 8th, 2019.
This is the 610th episode.
I'm Kyle Hyman. I am here at St. Jude's in South Bend. I think this is first ever two-time champions of our Catholic Schools Week broadcast competition. We were here last year, and it's exciting to be back here. We've got a new group of students, and we've got the faculty here as well to find out all the good things that are going on here at St. Jude's in South Bend. Does anybody have a prayer that they could get us kicked off with? Maybe something that you guys do in class, maybe something that you start the morning off with, something that you know as a group?
Okay. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now at the hour of our death. Amen.
In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you so much. All right. We've got a bunch of students here. Why don't we go around and introduce everybody? And for the teachers, you can explain what you do here as the teachers. And then the students, say what grade you're in. And then maybe what's your favorite either class or a club or an activity that happens here at the school.
I'm Miss Sheehan. I'm the band director and music teacher.
I'm Brendan Foley. I'm in 7th grade and I like math.
Math, all right.
I am Jacob Young. I'm in 8th grade, and my favorite subject will have to be algebra/math.
All right, good.
I'm Holden. I'm in 3rd grade and I like chess club.
Chess club, all right.
I'm Flannery Coleman. I'm in 3rd grade and I like math.
All right.
I'm Elizabeth Daniels. I'm in 6th grade and I like the sports.
I'm Sophia Lizzie. I'm in 4th grade and I like science.
My name is Stephen Donlinger. I'm the school principal, and I enjoy spending time with all of our grades. I wouldn't want to put one out there as a favorite, but I certainly, this year, I've enjoyed spending time with our pre-K students.
Did you have a favorite when you were a student?
I always enjoyed math and science.
Okay, yeah.
I'm Heather Boyson. I'm the director of faith formation here at St. Jude, and I teach 7th and 8th grade religion.
All right. Well, there's so many things going on here. I thought maybe we can start with Brendan and Jacob. I know you've got a musical going on. So what musical are you preparing for? And then what's your role in the musical?
We are doing Mary Poppins this year in spring, and I am George Banks, the father of the family.
Uh-huh. Have you seen the movie, the new one?
Not the new one. I've seen the original one, though.
All right. So are you going to play it like the original, or are you making it your own?
Yeah, I'm going to play it like the original character.
Good deal.
I'm Brendan, and I'm Nelius and Ensemble 2.
Nelius? Who was Nelius?
A statue that comes alive during Jolly Holiday.
Nice. So what kind of preparation are you guys doing for the musical?
We have practices on Thursday and Friday after school until 5, and before, like the week before maybe, we have 3 days where we go to the theater and do actual practices live there. And on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we also have, during elective time, we practice in the music room.
You're memorizing lines and songs, and are you doing some dancing and stuff like that too?
My part doesn't require too much dancing, but most of the other parts, if not all of them, do.
And Ms. Sheehan, are you involved with this?
Yes.
Yeah. So did you pick Mary Poppins, or did the students pick it?
So I am one of 3 directors, and so we got together over the summer and chose it.
Okay. And why did you pick Mary Poppins?
We picked it for the cast that we had coming up. It was it's newly out for licensing, so it's like exciting. And with the movie coming out, it was going to be an interesting show to do, I think, this year.
Yeah. Did you see the movie?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh,
no.
man, you guys are missing out. I thought it was okay, but my wife and sister loved it. All right, so musicals, is it a big deal here at St. Jude, the musicals?
Yeah, we have one every single year. we started a while ago before I got into the upper grades, and it's a pretty big thing. We just do it every year, and we started a while ago. Was it when you came here?
No,
it's been around longer than Miss Sheehan's been here.
This is Mr. Dondlinger. I think our first musical in the modern era, if we want to call it that, might have been like 2005 or 2006. It was actually a year or two before I started here as principal. And so it's been, this might be, I'd have to count the years. It's been probably like our 14th or 15th consecutive musical. And I'll throw this out there too, and then let the others comment about it. But one of the things that makes it unique is we take it off site. We don't just do it kind of in the church basement. We go to the Palmer Center, which is a facility down in Lakeville, and most of the time they're actually a funeral home service down there. But it's a renovated high school auditorium, so we're performing this in a real performance space that has state-of-the-art sound and lighting technology built into it. It has sort of like stadium seating in the back. There's floor seating. And it's really comes across as a professional production because of the way our students and teachers prepare them for it.
Yeah. So, Ms. Sheehan, why do you think musical is an important thing for the school to be doing?
So with the musical, we are tapping into talents of all of our different kids. So we do have kids that are acting and singing on stage, like Jacob and Brendan. But we also have kids that go up into the sound booth and they run the lights for the show, and they run the music and the microphones. We have kids as the stage directors, so there are ones back there sending kids out and bringing kids back. We've got backstage crew as all the students too, so they are changing around the sets. A lot of times they help build the sets, paint the backdrops, make the props. So it's an activity that uses a whole bunch of different talents and gifts, and so it really kind of ties in the whole community of our school.
Yeah, and working together to accomplish
one
task,
big show in the end, and so
using all the different talents. It sounds to me like a high school production. Like, I don't think of the way you're describing this doesn't sound like an elementary school production. It sounds like
we turn out some pretty good quality shows.
That's awesome. So when is it going to be for people that want to go?
It'll be March 21st and 22nd.
All right. Well, good. Well, they've got a lot more to talk about here. We've got several other students we haven't gotten into, and we've got all the different clubs and organizations going on here. I'm curious to hear about robotics and speech and chess club and the Young Vincentians. Holden, you going to tell me about that? Okay, good. All right, well, we'll find out about that and some of the other things happening here at South Bend for our Catholic Schools Week coverage. A little bit late because of the weather that we had, but so excited to be back here. We got more coming up right here on the Kyle Hyman Show on Redeemer Radio.
Thanks to Martin's Supermarket for providing breakfast for St. Jude this morning and helping us thank the teachers and staff for their hard work as part of their prize for winning our Catholic Schools Week contest. You can find this episode and all our special Catholic Schools Week coverage at kylehyman.com.
This is Kyle Hyman. I am here at St. Jude's in South Bend, one of our Catholic schools that won our competition. And we were supposed to broadcast from here last week, but we had some bad weather. So excited to get back here and to share a little bit about what's going on at the school. We talked about the musical, which was Mary Poppins, that's going to be coming up in March. Excited about that. And we have with us some teachers and students going to hear more about the school. We have with us Miss Sheehan, Brendan, Jacob, Holden, Flannery, Elizabeth, Sophia, Mr. Dondlinger, and Miss Boysen here. All excited to share about what's going on here at St. Jude's. Holden, you are part of the Vincentians, the Young Vincentians. Tell me what that is.
We make cards this year we made cards for the shut-ins. And we play games. We play games sometimes.
So the Young Vincentians, is this part of the St. Vincent de Paul Society? Is this related or? Okay. So who all is involved with that? Sophia was in the past? And Jacob and Brent? No, Jacob in the past too. So what can you tell me about the Young Vincentians, Jacob?
So at Young Vincentians, sometimes we actually hold contest for the school who can bring in the most food, and we take that food and we give it to people that don't have enough. We also adopt families sometimes, and we also deliver food out to the pantry that we have, and then they will take it as well to anywhere that needs it, such as maybe some donation facilities. And St. Vincent de Paul is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Main part of it, actually.
So this seems like a big service outreach that happens with the school, that you're able to serve the community through the Young Vincentians. Is that right?
Yes.
Cool. Sophia, what were you doing when you were involved with the Young Vincentians?
I helped pick up the food in the classrooms. I put all the food away in that big pantry outside. I made a bunch of cards for people. I donated gifts at Christmas time.
How did it make you feel to do all that?
I felt good.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Why?
because I was doing a good deed, I guess.
Yeah. Is that something that you do a lot? Good deeds?
I guess.
Try to, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Donnelly, how long has the Young Vincentians been a part of the school here?
Well, again, for reference, I've been here about 12 years. I think I'm in my 13th year. This program was ongoing since the beginning, so I don't know how long it was here prior to my time, but it definitely has been active the whole time I've been involved with the school. St. Jude Parish has a very active adult Vincentians outreach program. You know, as the students referenced, we have our own parish food pantry, and they actively deliver food and other support to families throughout this region of the county.
Mm-hmm. Now, Mrs. Boysen, with your faith formation, what role does service work play in teaching the faith?
So we always talk about how service is a really important part of growing in our faith. Especially, I have 7th and 8th grade, so that's a year of confirmation. Mm-hmm. And confirmation is when we're strengthened in the Holy Spirit and to go out and to live our faith. And a big part of Jesus' ministry was helping those most in need. And so helping the students realize that they can be, in practice, being Christ-like to others, especially those most in need. So when we are doing our service journals and reflections and ask the students to do service projects like this, we ask them to focus more on the corporal and spiritual works of mercy.
And how do you encourage them to do that? Do you just encourage them to do it at home? I know you've mentioned a few things that you have here at the school that you do, or do you take time out of class to actually put some of these things into practice? So
the beginning of the school year, we have a unit, and our 2 main goals of the school year is to be a big-time saint and mini theologian. And so to learn how to be a big-time saint, we talk about different ways we can be Christ-like. And so we talk about how can we be Jesus ninjas. So do
That's
little
awesome.
small acts of kindness without being seen.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then also, how can we be Christ-like in other ways? And so we talk about redemptive suffering and ways we can pray for others, and then how we can live out the corporal and spiritual works of mercy. So this year we did go to the March for Life. This was our first year doing that as school, so it was the 8th grade class, and something we're going to be looking at and trying to incorporate every year. So we joined St. Joe Grade School, invited all of the 8th graders in our area to come and join them. So we had a prayer service and then did the South Bend March for Life, which was a wonderful opportunity, and we did an entire unit on the Catholic social teaching of dignity of the human person, to help prepare and have a deeper understanding of what the meaning was and why we were there.
Yeah. So were you guys at the March for Life?
Yes, we were at the March for Life. We actually held up signs. Most of us did. We were in a newspaper as well, which I saw. It was really fun. We walked downtown with a lot of other Catholic schools, and this was our first year, and other Catholic schools have been doing it for multiple years. So this was a really fun experience for us because we were the first people to do it here.
Yeah. What were you expecting before you went?
Before I went, I was expecting it to be really high energy, and it was. Not saying it wasn't. It was. It was kind of what I expected. We went to church, and we talked about it, and then we walked out with the other schools. And once we got downtown, we started doing chants, and some songs were going on. It was pretty much what I expected.
Yeah. Why do you think it was important for you to be there?
Because it lets other people know that kids can have a voice about it rather than just an adult thing.
Yeah.
That we have opinions on some bigger stuff than just school problems, you know, like science fair.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah. Jacob, I think right now we're at a time, nationally where we see a lot of, kind of angry protests, maybe in our country, maybe in other places around the world. And we kind of associate protests and demonstrations with angry people, angry mobs, and kind of, we even heard a little bit of a concern from some of our students that they were concerned that this would be a violent encounter. And would it be wrong to say that there was really more an element of maybe happiness, joy, excitement, more of a positive experience in what took place?
It was definitely positive. It was a peaceful protest.
Yeah.
So we didn't damage property because that's illegal. So that's illegal. So you can't do that anyways. But yeah, it was peaceful.
Yeah. So what are some other things, Brennan and Jacob, that you're doing for confirmation service hours?
So we have 3 trimesters here at St. Jude, and every trimester you have to do 2 2-hour service projects and write a report on them. So the March for Life actually counted as some service hours for us. So we could write about that. And previously I went to a doctor's office and I sorted out drug cabinets for them to find the right medicine easier. I've went to the doctor's office and I was talking to a man that was stuck there for a few months now, and he was actually getting out like a few days after I got there, and he's home now. Brennan, why don't you tell us some things you did?
I helped out with the Mishawaka High School food drive, and I helped clean up one of the memorials at one of the South Bend police departments.
But what was the memorial for?
All the officers that have died in service.
Wow. So what did cleaning it up involve?
We took out the weeds, we took out the stone, and we put in bricks.
Nice. So how did you get the idea to do that for a service project?
I'm involved with the Boy Scouts, so it was an Eagle Scout project for one of the scouts.
Okay. So you were helping him out?
Yeah.
As well? Is it Eagle Scout something that you might consider doing?
Yeah.
When do you start that?
It's a rank you have to earn up to.
Yeah, how close are you?
Pretty far away.
You better get busy selling some popcorn then, huh? So with all the things going on here at St. Jude, we've talked about the musical, March for Life, the service projects. Elizabeth, I'm going to put you on the spot. You mentioned sports. What kind of sports are you involved with?
Well, at the beginning of the year, we had a soccer team, and we actually won the championship.
Oh, nice.
And
congratulations.
Thanks. Now, we just started basketball for girls, and yeah.
So how does prayer or the faith play a role in the athletics?
Well, I mean, we're not going to try to, hurt anybody on purpose. So, I mean, try to be, a good sport and not to, encourage anybody and tell them that they're not doing good and, encourage them up.
Yeah. Do you run into other teams that aren't as Christian in their sportsmanship?
There are some of them that get mad a couple of times, if they have an accident and they don't agree with the refs or something. So, but most of the times they're not. So,
what about the idea of teamwork? whenever we were talking about working together in the musical that they're doing and everybody kind of pitching in, how do you see that as playing a role in our faith, our community, and working together?
Well, if you like work together, then you can accomplish a lot of things like in sports. If you work as one individual, as a whole team, you won't win as like if you were communicating as a team, as you were just like trying to steal the ball all the time and scoring all the points.
Very good. So do you think sports is something that you're going to do as a career someday? You're going to be a professional athlete, or is this just a fun way to get some exercise and work together with some of your classmates?
I think it's more of a fun thing to do than something I want to like do as a career.
Yeah, very good. Sophia, what do you think makes St. Jude special as a school?
Well, they have a lot of nice clubs that they do for the younger kids who can't really play sports yet. They do a thing called Super Subs.
Super Subs?
Yes.
Okay.
And then...
Wait, you have to explain this now.
Oh, sorry.
What are Super Subs?
Well, it's volleyball and basketball. It's for girls and boys. I participate in volleyball, and it's after school on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I don't know when it starts, though. It hasn't started yet.
Okay.
But it's a really fun thing to do. The teachers are very nice. There's a lot of nice students there. I've learned a lot from that organization thing.
Good. All right. Well, there's more to talk about, and we haven't even gotten into our Light of Learning Award recipient yet. We've heard from her a little bit, but I want to hear more about why she is the award recipient and what we can learn from some of the things that she's doing in the classroom. Talk a little bit more about the faith formation that's happening here at the school, and also kind of just talk about faith in the students here as well. So that'll be coming up here at St. Jude's in South Bend for our Catholic Schools Week coverage right here on the Kyle Hyman Show on Redeemer Radio.
Redeemer Radio is proud to celebrate Catholic Schools Week and highlight the good work of our local schools. Our programs, including this broadcast, are possible thanks to the generous support of listeners like you. Redeemer Radio strengthens faithful parents, teachers, and catechists, even our local priests, who take the truth of the faith they hear and share it even further. Your support can help spread the seeds of faith right here in our community. To find out more about Redeemer Radio and our programs, visit redeemerradio.com.
This is Kyle Hyman. I am here at St. Jude's in South Bend for our Catholic Schools Week broadcast, a week late because of the weather, but we're so excited to be here. We have with us, we've heard a little bit earlier from Ms. Sheehan, the Light of Learning Award recipient. Mr. Donlinger, principal here, why do you think Ms. Sheehan was the Light of Learning Award recipient this year?
Well, there are actually several very specific criteria for a person to be nominated for the award, and I don't have that list in front of me, but to summarize it briefly, they pretty much have to be a well-rounded teacher. So first of all, they have to have instructional quality in the classroom. They have to be able to put together coherent lesson plans and teach in a way that is considered, well-grounded in educational theory. So that's just basic, fundamental teaching. Another aspect of it, as you would expect, is their faith that they bring to the students. And how does a teacher bring faith into the classroom if they're not just a religion teacher, quote unquote?
Right.
So what are they doing in math? What are they doing in science, social studies, reading, or in this case, in one of our specialty areas? What is the teacher doing in music class? I will let Ms. Sheehan talk about some of the ways that she integrates faith into her teaching, but I see it every time I go into the classroom to observe. I see it in some of the creative things she finds to do outside of the classroom. And thirdly, it's leadership. What do they do to bring leadership to the school? That they're not just closing the door, teaching for their 5-6 hours a day, then going home. What do they do to make the school community stronger? And that is a long list indeed, because she doesn't just teach at St. Jude. She teaches at St. Matthew Cathedral as far as the band program there. She teaches at St. Anthony's, both music and band.
Wow.
And she even helps lead the pep band at Marion High School. So, and a lot of that is time that she gives. I mean, it's not time that we necessarily can sit down and parse hour by hour. You know, she does that as part of her passion and ministry for Catholic education. So the leadership component was very strong. All three were something that we're really proud of having her.
And once a week, they let you sleep, right? Saturday nights, I get to sleep. So, Ms. Sheen, do you find it to be difficult sometimes to integrate the faith into the classroom, or is that an easy thing for you to do?
In general, I think it's an easy thing. So, first of all, there's a lot of music at Mass. And so it is very easy for us to integrate music and prayer into every lesson. And so every class, from the littlest pre-K babies all the way up to the 8th graders, we always start with some kind of musical prayer. And
Like a song that you would sing in church, or not necessarily?
so for the older kids, they're allowed to choose songs out of the hymnal, and a lot of times we do it based on liturgical season. So they're limited, like only pick an Advent song or only pick a Lent song.
Is that easy for them to do? Because I would think sometimes you ask a student to pick out a Lent song, you just kind of go blank and say, okay, what songs are there in that? Or do you teach them how to look through the hymnal and find the Lent section? Or?
Yes, so they understand how to use like the index of the hymnals to kind of figure out what songs would be appropriate for which season.
Yeah, good. And then what about the younger grades?
The little ones, so sometimes their songs are parts of hymns. Like right now for like 3rd grade, their song is the refrain of "Oh Lord, you are the center of my life." And for the pre-Kers, we usually pick, sometimes the hymnal songs are outside of their range of ability. So we'll do fun songs tying in Jesus and still the liturgical season. So like around Thanksgiving, we sing songs thanking Jesus, and Christmas, like Advent, Christmas time, we sing songs about him being born. So,
So outside of that opening song, are there other ways that you bring the faith into?
A lot is, I find it also in a lot of our shows that we do for the older kids, there's always some kind of message or story or the way the characters act that we end up having some sort of discussion that ties back to like our faith and how we're taught to act and handle situations. Last year we did Seussical, and so one of the main messages of that show was a person's a person no matter how small.
Right.
And so we ended up tying that back to like the pro-life ideas, and so there's a whole wealth of things even in music class that end up drawing us back to Jesus and the faith.
Yeah. Do you, when you're having discussions, say about Mary Poppins, is there a faith issue that you were able to pull out of the Mary Poppins story, or?
So the central theme of Mary Poppins is family, and so like that is, it's not so much like this is Jesus and here's what he did, but it's more of how we treat each other and how we're expected to act as a family in order to keep those bonds and that love strong.
Yeah. Well, speaking of music, you participate in a special choir that the diocese does?
St. Jude students, since its inception, maybe around 2011, 2012, we have participated in the Pueri Cantores choir, which is sort of a diocesan-wide activity. So originally, the Pueri Cantores Foundation, whatever their organization is, they're an international group. They try to preserve and foster the tradition of sacred music in Catholic liturgy. So they draw hymns anywhere from, let's say, traditional Catholic hymns all the way to, I think they even include some contemporary pieces that are written by well-renowned Catholic composers. And they teach these hymns to the children. They prepare them throughout the course of the year. They have a couple of regional rehearsals. And then they sing them in the context of liturgy usually in March, at one of the larger churches or parishes in our diocese. So we've had student choirs participate in this and perform at the cathedral in Fort Wayne. They've performed at the Basilica at Notre Dame. They performed last year at St. Pius Church in Granger, and this year I think it's at St. Charles Borromeo in Fort Wayne.
Okay. And what do you think is some of the benefits of participating in that?
Well, it's musically more demanding than what they would typically get in school choir. They do have to learn to sing in parts. They divide students into soprano, alto, tenor, and bass. So they have to learn musically to kind of step up and fit their part into the other people singing. It's, I would say, a little bit higher liturgical experience in terms of like, it's not quite the same as being at a weekend mass and just singing hymns with the assembly, but they are singing in the context of having that sacred choir experience, which is not as common as much in your parish experience. And by the way, we have lots of parishes that do lovely music. I'm not even implying that that's lacking, but it's just a little bit, if you go to these, and even if you're a participant, you're not one of the people singing, but you're just there at the Mass, it's really, really touching to hear the music interwoven with the liturgy the way that they do. It's powerful. And I enjoy going every year to hear our students sing as a part of that and come away feeling very enriched by the experience.
It sounds like a great opportunity and maybe something some of our other schools want to be participating in if they're not aware of it or we're not already doing that. So thank you for sharing that with us. And we got more to talk about here at St. Jude's in South Bend for our Catholic Schools Week broadcast right here on the Kyle Hyman Show on Redeemer Radio.
Thanks to Martin Supermarket for providing breakfast for St. Jude this morning as part of their prize for winning our Catholic Schools Week contest. You can find this episode and all our special Catholic Schools Week coverage at kylehyman.com.
This is Kyle Hyman. I am here at St. Jude's Catholic School in South Bend for our Catholic Schools Week broadcast, one of our winning schools, second year in a row. Congratulations, you guys. Obviously, some excitement and enthusiasm here at the school. We have with us Miss Sheehan, the Light of Learning Award recipient this year. Congratulations. We have Brendan, we have Jacob, Holden, Flannery, Elizabeth, Sophia, the principal, Mr. Donlier, and Mrs. Boysen here. All excited about the school, here to talk about what's going on. And Flannery, I was hoping that you could tell me a little bit about the assembly that happened here with a drummer.
Well, I think it was very exciting.
What was it? All I've heard is that there's an assembly with a drummer.
Well, we did, third grade was grouped with second and fourth grade, so she would give like the grades different rhythms. So, and then we would put the rhythms together.
So did you have a drum?
Yeah, we played like drums.
Okay. And so was that easy for you or was it hard? Have you played the drums before?
Well, they were like African drums, and I think it was pretty easy.
Yeah? Was it fun?
Yeah.
What was the goal?
I think the goal was to introduce like different styles of music.
Sophia, did you get a lot out of the assembly?
Yeah, but it was kind of hard to remember my rhythm.
Well, what was it? Do you remember it now?
No.
So everybody was playing a different rhythm, and then together it all sounded good together?
Yeah,
Is that the idea?
they're all like, they sounded like the same rhythm, but they're in like different forms.
Okay.
So like, second grade did the "We Will Rock You" with him.
Okay. Like
And
a
then-
don't.
Yeah. And then I don't remember what third grade was, and I don't remember what mine was either. But
But you remember "We Will Rock You."
yes, but they all came together and formed like that. The "We Will Rock You" kind of thing.
Okay.
She gave us little sayings like "What's for lunch? Pepperoni pizza." So like one side would say like, and then the other side.
Okay, I see. So the rhythm that you were drumming represented the syllables of the phrase that you were saying in your head?
Yeah.
Got it. Oh, that's interesting. So Elizabeth, what was the point of this assembly, do you think?
Well, I think
What's the moral of the story?
like to have like we all have different parts, but it all is like one. So like we can all do different things, but we all act and like believe in one thing.
I feel like this is a theme of today. Like with the musical, everybody working together. With sports, people working together to accomplish a goal. Drum circles, you're all playing different parts, but it makes something. I like this. Is this something that you think is a theme of St. Jude's, that you are a community, that you work together and you're growing in your faith? Is that, would you say, is part of St. Jude's philosophy here?
Yeah.
Good. Well, Flannery, you are new to St. Jude's. What has it been like transitioning to St. Jude's Parish and School?
I think it was like from going to homeschooling to Catholic school.
And what has the transition been like?
It's been good, I guess.
Were you nervous at first?
A little.
Are you still? No. Now you're comfortable?
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about the school?
That you can like get an education.
That's a great aspect of the school. Great. Now, I know Mr. Donlinger picked you folks because of your faith and that you have families that really stress the importance of faith. Why do you think, let's start with Brendan over here. Brendan, why do you think your parents wanted to send you to St. Jude's for a Catholic education? Why do you think that was important to them?
So I could learn more about my faith.
And has that worked?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are some things that you've learned about your faith?
Well, I've learned in religion class how to act and be like Jesus and how to respect everyone.
So not just like theology and learning about God, but really practical how we should be living our lives.
Yeah.
Good. I've heard it said that a lot of times our education teaches you how to make a living, but not how to live a life. But you're getting both. You're getting the education as well as like how we should be living our lives.
Yeah.
Good. Elizabeth, how about you? Why do you think your parents wanted you to go to a Catholic school?
I think they wanted me to go to a Catholic school because it would help me focus more on like not like all the stuff that's happening in the world right now, but like to try to focus on what Jesus is trying to have us do.
And I know we've talked about that with Ms. Sheen. You said that you bring the faith into your music class. And I know Mrs. Boysen, you do the faith formation here, but how do you work with other subjects? You're teaching religion, and then how do you work together and not just make it so like I'm teaching religion and they're teaching social studies? How do you integrate the faith in with the other subjects?
So a lot of times for middle school, we do change classes and have different subjects as well. And the middle school teachers collaborate, and a lot of times we kind of, by providence, find out that topics are overlapping, whether it's they're learning about something in science that's going to overlap with what we're talking about in religion. So this happened several times when we were talking about creation and how God formed us and created us in the dignity of the human person, and how God uses science and reason and faith actually all go together. So we talk about the importance that it's not one or the other, but they go together. The same things happen several times with social studies. We'll be talking about the Catholic social teachings, and a lot of times they'll be overlapping with several things that are happening in the social studies classroom. I know a lot of times they were talking about the United States political system, and we just read what does it mean to be a faithful citizen. So we read the letter from the bishop, Faithful Citizenship, and it actually went along with what they were learning in social studies. So we do collaborate and try to work with one another and build on what maybe one thing they're learning in science, how does that integrate with religion, and where does God fit in it?
So practically, how do you organize that? Because I imagine it's hard enough to concentrate on the class that you're teaching, much less worry about a class that somebody else is teaching and try to figure out, okay, what are you teaching and how can we work together? Because
like I was saying, it's kind of providence.
Okay.
A lot of times for 7th and 8th grade, church history is a really big part of the standards. And so 7th grade, we start with Genesis and focus a lot on the Old Testament and the New Testament and Jesus the first half of the school year, and walk through different things like that. And then we start around just after Christianity was legalized all the way to today and talk about church history. And when we're walking through this, we sometimes see how it's overlapping with social studies. If there's a theme that I see is going to have science aspect or social studies or something they're talking about in language arts, if it's a book they're reading and it has kind of the same values of what we're talking about. So a lot of it's more collaboration, and we find out we are talking about the same subject and kind of work together and see how can we make this holistic and help the students see that God is working in everything, and He made this wonderful design, and He created us with faith and reason, and so we can use both our mind and our hearts to know Him better.
Well, and it's so important that we do that in everything that we do, but especially in our Catholic schools. And it seems like it's been fruitful because you have several students, a couple students that are going through RCIC to join the church this Easter?
Yes, so this year we have 3 students coming into the church, and so I work with these students. We have a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 5th grader coming into the church, and then we also have a 6th grader who's been baptized but will be making his first reconciliation, first communion this year. And so they have such wonderful witnesses with the teachers and the students around them, and that their families have really felt a call that to bring them up in the Catholic faith and to allow them to have this opportunity to have Jesus in their life through the sacraments. And so they felt like there was such a witness here that they felt called to fully raise their children in the Catholic faith. And so I really work with them. We get together once a week and we have a RCIC class and kind of just talk about how Jesus is calling them to follow Him and get to know Him better, and then some of the basic information of the Catholic faith and help them get that foundation and then build on what they're already learning in their classrooms.
Can you explain what the RCIC program is?
All right, so RCIC, so it's Rite of Christian Initiation for Children. If there is someone over the age of reason, usually which is 7 years old or 2nd grade, who has never been baptized and would like to come into the church. We meet with just the children, but we kind of collaborate. I also work with the RCIA, so that we have 10 people coming into the church total this Easter Vigil. Great. So 3 children, and that would be 7 adults between St. Jude and our sister parish Sacred Heart in Lakeville. And so they will receive the all 3 sacraments of initiation this Easter Vigil. And it's a beautiful Mass, and it's actually one of my favorite Masses of the entire year. Yeah. It's one of the longest Masses, but it's so beautiful. Yeah. It's really exciting to have so many people coming into the church this year, and you really just see Christ working in the church and in the school and with all these people. So it's been a wonderful opportunity to work with these children and to help them know Christ better and to see how the school and their peers and teachers has influenced them to really make them want to join the church and to receive Jesus and to enter His family through baptism and the Eucharist.
Yeah, and 3 students, that's great. I mean, it's a testament to the school and the good work that you're doing here. We're almost out of time, but Mr. Dondlinger, anything that you'd like to kind of leave us with, anything that we missed out that you think is really important that we share with people?
Well, maybe for listeners out there who are not as close to Catholic schools, if you have children And I've always wondered what a Catholic school would be like if you have grandchildren, nieces, nephews, neighbors, people who seem to be struggling to find the meaning, either as parents. I think young parents have a really hard time sometimes figuring out how to do it. And the world is becoming more complicated and more challenging in a lot of ways for parents. Maybe they have older children who are simply struggling to find their footing in school. Go find a local Catholic school. Meet with the school, meet with the principal, ask to take a tour, to observe classrooms, and find out what that school can do for those children, because we have people come to us for every possible conceivable reason in the world. A lot of the times when they come, faith is the last thing on their list that they're really looking for. They just want a school that's safe, or where their child will not be bullied, or where they can be involved in more activities or more sports or be ready for high school or college. But in the end, so many of those families come back and find that the faith environment is what makes it worth doing. And all the other stuff is there too. All the other stuff comes with it. But they find always that it brings them back to faith.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for all of the students, the faculty, for welcoming here. All those that voted for St. Jude's for our Catholic Schools Week broadcast. It's been a pleasure to travel around the diocese and share just a little slice of the great work that our Catholic schools are doing for the people of the diocese. And so thank you so much for having me. And we will be back next week with another episode of The Kyle Hyman Show. Until then, remember to leave room for the Holy Spirit.
You can find this episode and all our special Catholic Schools Week coverage at kylehyman.com.